like to give you a brief introduction to each of the 4 keynote speakers. The first one is Madam Zheng Yu. She is the General Manager Assistant of Guangzhou Urban Planning and Design Company Limited and Director of the Urban Design Implementation Promotion Center. Madam Zheng believes that there should be a full life cycle development in promoting the cultural and architectural heritage in some cities. She has full experience in the industry. The second speaker is Ms. Liu Jie. She is the Department Director of Guangzhou Urban Planning and Design Company Limited, and she's going to present us their project in Xinghepu in Guangzhou City. Back to Madam Liu Jie, she has rich experience in many professional organizations related to design and building. She is very familiar with concept development, urban development, and the landscape design of big cities. She has won several awards at provincial level, national level, and international level. The third speaker is Mr. Sun Naifei. He is going to present us with the general design of Xingtiandi in Foshan. He has rich experience and he has supervised many projects in all over China. He also has many experience working overseas while understanding the Chinese culture. And Mr. Sun has his team to design many interactive solutions for many communities in the big cities. Last but not the least, we have a speaker from Hong Kong, that is Mr. Thomas Wen. Thomas is the Chief Architect of Architectural Services Department of Hong Kong Government. He graduated from Cambridge University. He is in charge of some internal design of many projects. He also won several awards, including one of the awards by Hong Kong Institute of Urban Design. He also gained some awards in like Good Design Award, Top 100, UNI Global Award, and etc. Okay. Like I said, those are the 2 parts of today's event. Without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Madam Zheng Yu. She is going to present us with the first project. The name of his project is about the Beijing Road in Guangzhou, and the name is a Millennial Commercial Street in Guangzhou on Rejoice. Okay. So, dear colleagues, dear audience, good evening. I'm very honored to be invited to speak on behalf of our team on the regeneration of Beijing Road. I'm very happy to share with you some of our experience and practice. As we all know, President Xi Jinping mentioned for several times during many key meetings and visits that we need to build our cultural confidence. We also need to protect and preserve our cultural heritage. In particular, in the year 2018, when President Xi Jinping visited Guangzhou, we had make it very clear that Guangzhou need to join the big program for regeneration. And since 2018, we have seen many practice and pilot program issued by the Ministry of Commerce of People's Republic of China. So that is the background for our project since 2018. Our project began in 2018. We also had a lot of discussion before we get started, because we know that we are already in an era of global competition. So how can each of the countries to showcase our cultural power? That is a question which deserves our attention. And we see that many countries in the world are making their own stories by showcasing their cultural, commercial, and environmental protection achievements. Among all these kind of achievements, culture is the key. Then in the year of 2020, we read a report about the soft power in the whole world. According to these reports, China has become the fourth place country with its biggest soft power in the world. Moreover, we are now in the era of knowledge economy. We understand that things have changed. We need to innovate. We need to invest on our people. So when we are working on Beijing Road, we are not simply focusing on one road. Instead, we are talking about a big community. We try to attract people. We try to inaugurate the business projects in this community. So that is the logic behind our project. As for Guangzhou, we all know that it's a very culturally inclusive city, well known in the world. It is also the center of Ningnan culture as well as a gateway for further development to the whole world. So we understand that in Guangzhou, we have Beijing Road, which is very unique. It has very special value to the city. So we will see how our projects can redesign the future of Beijing Road and how can we enhance our cultural competitiveness. Then we try to think further. We have to understand that in the new round of global competition, how can Guangzhou present itself? We understand that Beijing Road is at the center of the city for 2,000 years. Even though there are ups and downs in the development history, Beijing Road was always here. Nothing changed. So there are a lot of cultural heritage, and it is one of the most important landmarks in Guangzhou. However, in the new millennium, things change in Beijing Road because it is not that attractive culturally speaking. Can you help me to move on to the next slide? Since the millennium or the year 2000, younger people may not go to Beijing Road that much. So we need to find a way to attract people, including tourists and local people, to Beijing Road. And then we come up with a solution called Beijing Road C5 or 5C. We have culture, commercial, creative, Cantonese, and continue growing. In the first keyword, culture, we would like to showcase the historical value through the high concentration cultural scenes. We would like to let the local people's memory to be embedded into the local life, as well as in the project of Beijing Road. As you can see on the slides, those are the photos before the project. There are lots of qilou or arcade in this street. After the signs or billboards were removed from the streets, you can see the streets was actually obsolete. And we feel very sad about that. And we try our best to make something new out of those signs and streets. Like you can see on the slide, on the left-hand side, That was before the project was completed. We have a sign called 太白, and on the right hand side, we remove the sign and we have 2-floor building. We actually invited one of the important companies of souvenirs from the Forbidden City in Beijing. So they can actually sell many cultural products in this special boutique. And we also try to have extracts of all the elements of the arcade in the same period. You can see there are lots of decoration details, lots of beautiful patterns on the window pane, and also on the top of the ceilings. There are many culturally rich elements. I would like to draw your attention to one case study. On the left-hand side, you see the project, before the signs and billboards were removed. And after we remove them, we take a photo, which is shown on the right-hand side. You can see the original pattern of the building. You can see that on the surface of the wall, you can see the real sign, which has 100 years old of history. So that longer logo of the brand reappeared in 2019 after we removed the exterior wall decoration and signs. So we believe that we have done a very good job on renovating and rejuvenating and protecting that building. This is another case study. On the left-hand side, it is before the project was completed. It looks good, didn't it? It looks clean and tidy. However, something was actually wrong, because we understand that in the color of yellow and blue, there are some details. They're very traditional decoration of Ningnan culture. So it is one of the cultural heritages we need to enshrine. So we try to remove the exterior wall. And then we also see that we can try our best to remove all those signs and to showcase the real surface. So you can see the photos on the right-hand side. And then more photos in before and after the project. On the left-hand side, you can see a lot of signs. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the traditional and original look of each of those buildings. And we also keep the commercial elements of the traditional street. Moreover, the street of Beijing Road has a time of over 2,000 years old. So we would like to present the traditional and the genuine ancient streets to our visitors. So you can see we try our best to dig underground and to show parts of the real streets. You can see under the glasses the real and genuine streets. We also use some instructions of languages to tell the story and the history of that road. More photos of the pedestrian street before the project is completed, nothing special. Now we would like to innovate the IP brand of this millennial street, a street of millions of years old. And we also want the visitors to really feel the pattern on the road. So we try our best to study the genuine streets of Beijing Road through 6th dynasty in China. And then we use the traditional craftsmanship plus the innovative elements to present the real structure and service of the Asian road. There are more landmarks, including some theaters and restaurants. And in the interest of time, I have to skip that part. The next part is how to invite some museums and hotels and hostels to be part of the community. Like here, it is the Children's Palace. It used to be one of the important landmarks. However, it was not that popular anymore in the year 2000. So we would like to invite the teenagers and younger people to come to the same place. That's why we renovate the Children's Palace. The next keyword is commercial. C. We try to open the space and let the visitors to enjoy the streets 24 hours for 7 days. And we try to build 5 forces of film in the core area. We can let visitors to go to different sections during different periods of time. Like here, it is another comparison before and after the project. Obviously, on the left-hand side, before the project is done, there are only some low-level signs on the streets and on the buildings. And the top of the buildings or the roof of the buildings were not used at all. And we tried to use that on the right-hand side. And when we were conducting the project, we kept thinking how to boost the local economy by renovating the Beijing Road. We hope that we can renovate and boost the local economy in different manner. Here is one example. On the left-hand side, it is Adidas, our international brand, that occupy the entire building to have a flagship store. However, we understand that the business of Adidas was not very good. We tried to put the building for another commercial owners. We try to put the buildings with many glasses so they look transparent and open. Here is another example. On the left-hand side, you see the building cannot showcase the features of the Lingnan Arcade or Qilou. We try to show the service on the right-hand side, and we invite Boluopi, one of the important local food souvenir companies, to use that block of building. Another example is to use digital screen on one of the shopping mall called Xingdaxing. On the right-hand side, you can see an LED screen with 3D effects, three-dimensional effects. And we believe that it makes the whole street more modern. The next keyword beginning with C is Cantonese. We understand that Beijing Road is the place for the local Cantonese to visit. They can come here to shop, they can come here to hang out. So we hope that all the visitors can feel like Cantonese when they visit the Beijing Road. This is another block nearby. It's actually the back street of the Beijing Road community. In the past, this block is very quiet. Not many people walk around, but now you can see how crowded it is. Many people, including families, young couples, would like to visit this block in the evening because many small vendors do business by driving their trucks over there. Here is another example about some private ownership of some old buildings. Like I said, it's a very old community. There are many older buildings owned by private people, private organization or individual. We try our best to make good use of the exterior wall. Like here, you can see we make some giraffe. We have some painting on the wall so that people can feel the culture. And here is one more example. On the left-hand side, it was just a simple, common old house. And on the right-hand side, it became somewhat like a theater. and it's also a very important place for the younger kids and the older people to enjoy themselves. The next key word beginning with C is about having life like the Cantonese. This is another part of the pedestrian road. We try to plant some flowers and make good use of the open space. Now, the consumers can try to be attracted over there. And this is the photo before the project, and this is the photo after the project. Moreover, when we are working on commercial streets like this, we don't have to work on some big things. We can make good use of some small details and enhance the cultural characteristics of the local community. For example, here we make good use of the open space and we try to embed the landscape with the community to provide a very good place for people to take a break. And it is also full of many arrays and narrow streets. And we try our best to make good use of all those space by planting trees and making beautiful decoration. Next keyword is continue growing. It is about the public transportation system. I would like to introduce you to several parts. Like here, we have got a crossing. On the left-hand side, it is before the project is done. You can see it's quite ordinary crossing. It is just part of the pedestrian street, but it's nothing special. On the right-hand side, we not only keep the crossing, we will also like to make it more distinctive. We would like it to make it impressive. And then on the other side of the community, we would try to make the main street even longer. In the past, it was only 0.4 kilometers, and it was not long enough to attract business owners. And now we make it to 1.4 kilometers. And we also have the second stage of our project. When the second stage is completed, it could be 2 kilometers. We also compare Guangzhou-Beijing Road with other pedestrian streets in China. In the past, you can see that Guangzhou-Beijing pedestrian road was lagging behind in terms of this length and scale. And after our project is done, it has better performance in the whole national ranking of pedestrian streets. And we believe that when the second stage is finished, we have 2 kilometers of Beijing Road pedestrian streets. And those are the photos that we would like it to be. One more keyword beginning with C is creative. We would like Beijing Road to be creative enough to attract younger people to come out, to have fun in Beijing Road. However, it's not easy because Beijing Road is located at an old part of the city of Guangzhou, and it's very small. It is not as big as the CBD in other places in Guangzhou. So what we can do is to make good use of those small offices, especially the offices areas which are smaller than 100 square meters. We would like to make good use of them. And how? We will make some pocket garden, we make some corner greenland, we also make some open space and the rooftop gardens. They are very good way for the younger people to hang out and enjoy themselves. And after all those keywords beginning with C were achieved, we have very good achievements. As you can see that in 2021, we have done some survey. we all know that we still suffered from COVID-19, the pandemic in 2021. Still, we still have some growth of the visitors. In fact, there is 10% growth of the visitors, and the business volume also grew by 23.3%. And the duration of time spent by the visitors also enhanced from 0.5 hour to around 2.6 hours. And this is great achievement after we boost the local economy nearby. Moreover, in the year 2021, Beijing Pedestrian Street has been one of the model streets in China, which is issued by the Ministry of Commerce. And in October, we aimed another important award in China. In addition to the awards in China, Beijing Road also won other project awards in other countries and also in the whole world. And a lot of media pay attention and talk about this project a lot. So we believe that these projects can be a very good role model for us to continue working with the Greater Bay Area. And we can also work with the Asia Pacific Tourist Destination Organization. And the United Nations also set up one of organization in Beijing Road to continue the developments of the tourist resources in Guangzhou. So we hope that Beijing Road can serve as a catalyst. It can keep growing, it can keep enhancing its functions. So on the left-hand side, it is the very beginning of Beijing Road. It's very small. The total length is 0.7 kilometer. And after we finished the first stage of the project, it reached to the south, and it can actually be more close to the water of the Pearl River. In addition, from north to the south, we also try to make it bigger by expanding from the west to the east. We also would try to work with Qiyi Road, that is another nearby street. So we put the two of them together and make the entire Asian city into a new city. So that is all for my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Madam Zheng. Thank you for your presentation on Beijing Road. So I would like to invite the second speaker to get ready. We are going to invite Madam Liu Jie, Department Director of Guangzhou Urban Planning and Design Company Limited. The project is also one of the Greater Bay Area Urban Design Awards 2022 Grand Award Build Project. And she's going to present us about the Xinghepu protection. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to give you a presentation on behalf of our team. I would like to talk about the Xinghepu Protection, Reuse, and Revitalization Project in Guangzhou. Like the previous speaker, Madam Zheng mentioned, Guangzhou is against the national context to revitalize its local culture. So I will skip the part of the project background. Now I would like to tell you more about Xinghepu. It's very similar to Beijing Road. It is one of the key destinations for revitalization in Guangzhou. As you can see on the map, that the city of Guangzhou has a history of 2,000 years. And there are two epochs for its urban developments. Beijing Road is on one of the easels, which is on the west-hand side, and the other one has emerged in the past 1 decade. It is the new central axis of Guangzhou, and Xinghepu is right over here, and it is in the eastern part of the city. For example, you may know the railway station, you may know Tianhe Tea Mall, you also know Huacheng Plaza. So they are parts of the new central city easels. And right here is Xinghepu. It is between the two central lines of the city. And it is also one of the most important cultural heritages in the city. Now, here is the project's profile. There are actually 26 blocks of older streets in Guangzhou, and Xinghepu is one of them. It is isolated in the east, and the total area is around 62.55 square kilometers. In Cantonese, there is an old saying that the rich gentleman live in the east, while the rich lady live in the west. And when we say in the east, that refers to Xinghepu or Dongshan. And local people know a lot about these districts. Moreover, in the past 1 century years, there are a lot of changes, including the revolution and reforms since the Qing dynasty. For example, we have the Third National Congress of the Communist Party of China. It was established and held right here in Xinghepu. It is a very important meeting, and a lot of important buildings were built in this district. Another key feature of Xinghepu is that it's a combination of Eastern and Western style of building and architecture. We call them the Red Little Mansion in the Cantonese. And here is the profile of the local residents. It is in the Yueshu district, the same like Beijing Road. It is in one of the older parts of the city. So like many other older parts of the cities in the world, there is a problem of aging population. So it's not as crowded as before. Many people move out, and we also see the age groups of the local residents. So we find fewer and fewer younger people.
这个广州是属于这种多雨的这种气候，以及这个相应的一些其他的因素，那么造成了这个建筑呢，实际上也是出现了很多的这样的一些安全隐患和急需进行修缮的一些需求。那么基于此呢，我们就提出了这个活态保护和有机更新以及街区共享的这种理念。我们希望就是以用促保，而不是简单的只是一个冷冻式的这种保护的方式，那么去更好的活化利用我们新河浦这个地区，那么去进行这种高品质以及精细化的去提升我们新河浦的这样的一些品质和这种环境。那么在这个整个的这种近几年，其实对新河浦来说，因为整个片区呢也是我们这个一直有在这个长期维育和跟踪的区域。那么近几年呢，其实新河浦我们也做了挺多的一些规划，其实包括它的保护利用规划，还有城市设计。那么我们希望呢，通过这个保护利用规划这种保护底层这种管控的要求，以及这种全域保护体系的搭建呢，去做好我们这个新河浦保护的它的一个基因和它的一些基底，那并且呢，通过运用城市设计的一个手法，那么去更好的去活化我们的这个新河浦的一个城市空间，那么使这个社区呢能够得到更好的一个活化利用的一个指引，那么使这个 最终呢，其实就会转化为我们所说的这种实施项目库，那么从而更好的这个引导这个政府也好，那包括这个市民也好，以及这个市场方也好，引导我们这个街区的自主有机更新，那么实现这个保护文化遗产和改善人居环境，以及适应我们民生发展的这些综合性的一些这样的目标。那么，因为我们新河浦呢，实际上它的一个特殊性和它的历史性在，所以呢，其实我们就是先从这个整个的这种历史价值研究的角度去出发。那么新河浦呢，实际上它在这个明清时期呢，其实它还是位于这个广州的一个东郊。那么因为这一片呢有许多的这种山岗，所以呢，当时在清朝的时候，就是这边就命名为东山。那么其实，在曾经有段时间，东山呢也是广州的一个行政区。那么现在呢是并到我们越秀区里面。那么在这个19世纪中期和20世纪初期的时候，那么广州呢就开放为这个通商口岸的时候呢，那么东山地区呢。它就是受到了很多外国人的一些青睐。那么在这里呢，就新建了许多的像教堂啊，以及他们的住房啊，以及教会学校等一系列这样的建筑。所以呢，就是现在大家可以看到很多的一些这种历史资源要素的保留呢，其实也是那时候建起来的。那么随着这个10年的时候，至20世纪初期呢，那么由于这个西方近代这个城市规划理论就传入到这个我们这个岭南地区，那么所以花园式的这个住宅区呢和田园城市的理论呢也影响了，就当时还是时任这个广州市长就是孙科的这样的一些新潮思路的这样的影响呢，因此他就提出了要把这个东山作为这个住宅区建设的一个建议。那并且呢，当时有很多的这种回国的一些这样子一些青年才俊，那么也选择呢在东山这边建立自己的一些小洋楼和小房，那么提升自己的这样的更多的就是能够也体现了我们岭南这种开放包容式的这种岭南的一些文化。那么所以这一块呢，其实也是在那时候进行了一个大力的一个这样的一些拓展。那么在23年的时候呢，就是中共3大就是在我们这个新河浦召开。那么后期呢，就是这个在这个我们建国之前呢，那么我们这个中西结合，就我们所说的这种小洋楼呢，其实就规模就已经初见成效，那并且达到了那个最高峰的这样的一些个情况。那么解放后呢，到90年代的时候呢，那么广州这边呢，其实有许多的这个重要的党政机构呢，也设在我们的东山，那么形成了比较独特的这种大院文化。实际上，像我们现在广东省委大院，其实也是位于我们新河浦的附近。那么新河浦整个这个一带的这种风貌格局呢，其实也是基于这个稳定，那么有一个很好的一个这样的一个城市机理。它的这个整个的过程呢，其实是这种多空间、多维度的一个叠加和发展的。那么从这个城市机理上来说呢，其实我们当时就研究了整个这个新河浦地区呢，由于它是随着城市的一个东拓，然后发展起来的，所以呢，整个新河浦呢，实际上它的形成呢是这个新河浦的这个西边，那么其实是承接我们这个广州的一个老城区那边的一些功能在里面，那么慢慢的形成由我们中部公共服务中心，那么向这种网格化以及这种规模化去发展，那么最终呢，就形成了以这个公共服务中心为核心，那么周边这种洋房住宅片区呢，分布在四周的这样的一个居住区的一个形态。那么在这个我们对于新河浦整个的这个历史链的这样的研究的基础上呢，其实我们就总结出了这个新河浦它所处地区这样的一些价值特色。那么这个呢，其实也是我们这个广州在编制这个街区历史保护规划最重要的一个这样的一个内容，就是价值特色的提炼。那么这里面呢，新河浦就是有4个价值体现。第一个呢，就是以这个中共3大为代表的这个中共早期革命活动策划地，也就是说我们的一些红色文化。那么第二呢，就是近代新式居住街区的一些样本。 那么也是比较早的形成这种规模化的这种街区的这样的一些模式，其实跟当时华侨新村是一样的一个道理。第三呢，就是由于这个我们之前说的西方文化的一些这种迁入，以及这个外国回国的这样的一些青年才俊的一些加入，那么造成了我们这里呢就有很多广州多元的一个文化的一个孕育地。那么第四个这样的一些价值特色呢，就是我们民国的一个小洋楼的一个聚居地。那么这里面现在也是保留是广州规模最大的这个民国红砖小洋房的一个聚集。那么这个在这个现状的基础上呢，因为通过这种历史资料的梳理之后呢，其实对于这个街区的这个活化工作，其实很重要的一个工作呢，就是对于基础数据的一些调研。那么我们项目组呢，其实也是对这个新河浦整个60多公顷的这个范围之内呢，进行了这种非常详实的这个全面调研。那并且呢，就是采集了就是每栋建筑的21项的一个现状资讯，那么建立了我们这个建筑身份的这种 ID 资料库，就是为我们后期的这种规划设计以及管理以及维护，那么进行了一个重要的一个这样的一个支撑。那么在这个规划措施层面呢，那么实际上呢，我们也是采用了这种点线面的这样的一个结合，那么能够通过这种3个维度的这样子的一些控制呢，去建设我们这个传统保护的一个体系。那么首先呢，是对于这种面状的这样的一个环境，那么我们确定了就是3条线。那么第一个是我们划定了这47公顷的核心保护范围线，那么以及15公顷的监控地带线，还有我们的环境协调区。那么这是我们对于这个面上的整体的一个这样的控制。那么另外一个层级呢，就是对于线性的一个保护措施的这样的一个提出，跟保护要素的一个提出。那么我们推荐了1条这个2类骑楼街，那么7条这个1类传统街巷，那么52条这个2类传统街巷，以及1条这个保护水系。那么第3方面呢，就是我们通过这种点状的这种保护要素的梳理呢，就是确定了这个包括之前一直积累下的像这种11处的这个不可移动文物，还有我们25处的历史建筑和200多处这个传统风貌建筑线索，以及这个15株的这个古树名木和3项的这种非物质文化遗产。那么通过这种3维的这样子一些管控要求呢，就是来确定我们这个保护管控的一些底线。那并且呢，从这个街区上来说呢，就是我们对于整个街区呢，我们是划分了这个9个街坊，那么并且呢，制作了相应的这种土地使用的一个规划，还有包括建筑分类的这样的一个图则，那明确了我们这个各个街坊的它的这种保护的一些要素，以及土地利用，还有建筑整治等相关的一些这种要求，那么能够使我们接下来在这个这个街区在活化利用的时候呢，有个很好的这种指导的这样的一个作用。那么在设计指引方面呢，我们这边的话也是项目组也是进行了这个整个这个价值要素的这种提炼，因为新河浦呢，实际上它有很多的包括这个传统的岭南要素，也包括了我们西方的一些这样引进来的这样的一个新的这种要素，以及中西结合的这样的一些这个价值要素基因。所以呢，我们在做的过程中呢，就是对于这个整个新河浦这一块的这个建筑以及环境要素呢，我们进行了一些梳理，就包括我们的这个清水红砖墙，还有外廊的样式以及庭院等一系列它的具有代表性的这种要素呢，我们进行提炼，那么建成了我们这个新河浦独特的一个这种城市设计基因库。那么这个呢，也有利于我们在后期活化利用的时候呢，能够从这里继续延续我们新河浦的这种基因，能够将新河浦它的一个故事呢，以及它的一个空间价值呢，能够传承下去，那么能够这个保证我们这个新河浦呢，能够更好的有它自身的一个价值特色和我们所说它的一个新河浦的一个文化，以及我们东山的一个印象。那么这个呢，就是我们在这个活化利用的时候呢，我们通过对于这个现状的一个问题的一个梳理，以及我们通过这个在这个刚刚说的基因库的这样子的一个这种总结的基础上呢，那我们对于建筑立面，那么以及道路设施，还有这种植被种植等方面，包括还有艺术装置， 等这种比较灵活性的这样的一些这种措施上，那么做的一些这种设计上的指引，那么能够使我们这个新合浦在总体的这样子的这个环境下呢，能够得到很好的这样的一个这种风貌的统一和风貌的一个延续。那并且呢，能够满足我们当代人的这个生活需求，因为实际上呢，这种老街区的改造呢，因为它所处的年代是不一样的，人们对于这种物质空间的要求，包括我们的建筑功能，实际上它是在不断的这种更新迭代，以及有新的这样的诉求。那么建筑呢，它其实是一直在那边，但是对于这种要素呢，实际上我们还是要将它和当代人的这种生活需求跟它的一个功能更好的结合起来，才能使我们的建筑更好的活化和利用起来。那并且呢，就是我们对于新合浦来说，因为这个新合浦东山印象呢，其实对于广州来说，它其实有非常它的自己一个独特性，和它在广州，我们说这个老广心目中，包括新广州人心目中有它的一个重要特殊的价值在。所以呢，就是我们这边也是通过我们自己的这样的一个这种这个走访，还有包括通过跟这个市民，以及通过对于它里面的商铺的一店家，还有就是说周边的一些人群，我们进行了非常多的一些走访，包括我们的一些总结，我们就整理了许多有代表性的这种东山印象的这样的一些名片，以及具有代表性的这样的一些这个印记，能够让这个东山的这个它的特色能够更好的去发挥起来。那么所以呢，这里我们有很多这样的一些这种这个建筑语言也好，包括它的一个功能性也好，能够使它能够得到更好的一个这种活化利用的一个传承。那么我们通过这个前面说的这种大家对于东山印象的这样的一些梳理呢，那么我们结合这个大家在于这种街区里面的这种体验的一种感受，那么我们就是对这个片区我们进行了路径的一些划分。那么这里面就当时刚刚也说了，因为这里面它有近百年的，就是百年的这种历史，那么包括百年历史的故事，以及百年历史的这样的一些空间载体。那么所以呢，就是我们针对它的这种历史的这种价值，以及它现在的这种环境和现在存在的这样的一个这种状态，那么我们这里呢也对它进行了不同段。
their life in the community, and we call them the Cantonese residential block. For Dongshan block, which is more well known, many bourgeoisies or many middle class people really would like to go there, and they always hold many activities in Xinghepu because they would like to make good use of the Dongshan culture. Like here in the map, excuse me, I need to refer to my map. Like here, we have got a section of arts, galleries, and museums. And we also would like to showcase the importance of education, because in Yueshu district or the older Dongshan district, there are many good schools, primary schools and key schools here, including Peizhen Primary School, Shuqian Road Primary School, and etc. We will also would like to show how good the schools are, and also showcase the history of education in the district. So the map show you several schools, and you can also have some open hour to visit some of those schools. Here are more activities in the gallery section. There is actually a path of arts in Dongshan. So in this corridor, we will show some paintings, some photos, some dining services over here. So it could be a very good place for people to hold art events. Next slide is to showcase the everyday life of the Cantonese people. We show you several celebrities' photos, including some historical figures in Dongshan. We also have some boutique of souvenirs. And for the red memory or the People's Communist Party's history, there are some kind of museums. For example, here we have a lot of centers for the students to learn more about the history of the CPC in China. So that is the general plan of our project. We have highlighted several landmarks and make several routes for visits. We also provide some guidance to each of the routes. We believe that visitors can have a better understanding and a better impression of Xinghepu. So in the future, we can let the entire block have more and more travelers' routes. Moreover, we will try to construct a cultural business travel model in this area because we would like to attract tourists to Xinghepu. We have tried our best to make some activities, and we can make a database for different kind of activities for the tourists and the local people. So with all this database available, we can make this community as a catalyst for further use of people. And here are some of the examples. Like I said, the government has attached importance to the revitalization of the project, and ordinary people are also interested in this project. On the photos, you can see there are several Hong Kong singers and artists shooting a documentary film in this area, and it has become a hit for the local people. Here are more photos for the Cantonese living environment. You have seen how the environment has improved. We also talked to many local residents to learn the history, because as designers, we have to learn the history on the book as well as from real people, because the design is very engaging. We would like to engage the local residents in Xinghepu. So we have conducted a lot of interviews, and we also work with some new social media to present the history. We have held a contest of photography in Xinghepu, so more people can get the chance to understand the district, because we believe that only by understanding this district better can the visitors fully understand the city of Guangzhou. In the end, I would like to say that the project of our team has a very special objective, that is to protect, to allocate the resources, and to boost the local developments. We will also hope that we can let the local people to get engaged with the project, and we would like to provide some case studies to our colleagues in the Greater Bay Area. I think I still get some time, so I would like to share with you one of the videos. I would like to invite you to take a look at the clipping of a video. In the rundown, we would like to invite Mr. Wen Chok Huang Thomas to present us with his experience in Wan Chai. So we all know that his project gained the award in the Greater Bay Area Urban Design Awards. So now the floor is yours, Thomas.
Well, thank you, Mr. Yu, again for the introduction. Good evening. It's a great honor to be invited by Hong Kong IUD for this seminar. Hong Kong is a mixture of East and West with a highly densified urban fabric juxtaposed with beautiful country parks and also a magnificent harbor. The Wan Chai waterfront is to celebrate the beautiful view of this Victoria Harbour. The project is located in the last piece of reclaimed land facing the harbour. The site location is prime, but is surrounded by construction sites at the moment. The project forms a continuous link, bridging the Hong Kong Convention Centre in the west and the promenade in the east, with the Wan Chai Ferry Pier in the middle. The Wan Chai Promenade is designed to be people-orientated and pet-friendly public open space for all. We focus on the connectivity, permeability, and the garden embankment in the urban context. We aim to bring people back to the Victoria Harbour and to create a mediation between dense urban fabric and the sea. This is a typical section of the promenade. It's about 15 to 20 meters wide, quite narrow for quite a long promenade, with a Victoria Harbour on the left and the construction site on the right. We add layers of space from passive to active. The green hedges at the back of the site forms a green barrier to minimize the dust and noise from the storage area of the construction site. So we can create a tranquil landscape space. Tree canopies in the middle are created to provide sunshade and reduce summer heat. We also add pavilions and seatings under the trees with meandering path in between. Right next to the passive landscape area, we can find a continuous hard paved area for active activities like jogging. Abutting the water edge, we add many seatings so we can enjoy the unobstructed harbour view. Now we go to the overall view. You can see it is quite long and narrow. The total length is about 390 meters long. We want to break the linearity of the site and create a series of active and passive experiences with the focus on the Victoria Harbour. Instead of looking at the Victoria Harbour from just a single angle, we use the concept of framing and add directional portals and walls to provide alternative perspective towards the harbour. At the entrance, we are welcomed by a picture frame shelter capturing a complete view of the waterfront. You can find the accessible ramp so you can enter the site from the street level to begin the journey. When we are walking further, we can find a series of pavilions set in the landscape. There we can also find a multi-purpose space for happenings like a performance and outdoor gym. Walking further along, there is a plant room, but it dressed up like a pavilion with tranquil seating space overlooking the hustle and bustle at the ferry pier. At the intersection between the ferry pier and the promenade, we intentionally add an active event space to spice up the experience. We want to create an activity node at the center so that the crowd from the pier can gather at this place, adding vibrancy to the promenade. At the east end, we arrive at the pet garden, where pets can run freely. It will be connected to another promenade further east. We want to activate the linear promenade by inserting multiple activity nodes all along. We offer opportunities for the public to enjoy either the passive activities like sitting under a tree or enjoy activities near the pier. The entrance portal is integrated with the shelter, ramp and roll call center. As you can see, the center is like a photo frame with a neon light saying at Wan Chai. We orientated towards the promenade and the ferry pier, so we can capture an amazing view at the first step. Pavilion is designed to be open at both sides to enhance visual transparency, with the front towards the harbor and the green barrier at the back. The sunlight casting through the trellis create interesting shadow effects on the timber deck. We use rectilinear layout and natural material palettes so that we can create tranquil seating spaces for Hong Kong people to slow down, take a seat, enjoying the sunlight and the sea breeze. You can also hear the bird singing and the horn from the Star Ferry vessels. This is my favorite spot. The shelters are carefully set to frame the stunning harbor view. The harbor itself is an ever-changing picture. You can take pictures with the Star Ferry and the Tsim Sha Tsui on the opposite side of the harbor. We intentionally use the glass balustrade to enhance the visual transparency towards the sea. As the site is located in a reclaimed land, we introduce a series of coastline exhibits showing the changes of the Hong Kong coastline over the decades. The exhibition panels were designed to be very light and visually floating against the Victoria Harbour. The installations not only to educate the young generation about the coastline evolution, but also record collective memories in the neighborhood. Passing by the the Wan Chai Ferry Pier, we now arrive at the east portion. Here we see a large timber deck area located adjacent to an event space, the Harbour Chill. The timber deck is an extension of the forecourt of the Harbour Chill, a very popular place, which is extremely popular to hold events in different occasions and major festivals during weekends and public holidays. The deck is a space that caters for more active group activities and family events. We adopt a minimal approach to design this timber deck with natural and soft materials, and the geometries of the lampposts and the blockings reflects the building blocks across the harbour. A pet garden is introduced to encourage people to bring their pets to the inclusive promenade space. Pets can run freely without leash within the garden. Timber seatings located on the grass lawn showing pets and their owners to relax. Also, pets can play hide and seek by penetrating through the spaces under the seatings. Apart from the pavilions, timber deckings and pet gardens, we have already introduced other special features related to local character, local history are found along the promenade. In this side, we are looking at the two paintings created by the Chinese famous artist Gun. He adopted colorful patterns and strokes to imply and illustrate the vibrancy of Hong Kong. And we have translated the idea of the color expressions of Gun painting, integrating with the local vintage metal gate and the post boxes to create an art installations to promote local history and art in the promenade. We also have seatings integrated with neon light installations and the old Wan Chai street signs to evoke collective memories of the old Wan Chai neighborhood. These features have offered new attraction spots for the public and become very popular photo shootings places along the promenade. The promenade opens to the public 24 hours a day. Each portion of the promenade is well designed to create different spatial qualities to generate diverse activities. It is a communal space situated in a dense commercial city to function as a buffer for the public to relax and to appreciate the nature with their family and friends and also pets. As an urban development, the most important thing is the public can enjoy the space we have created for them. The public received positive feedbacks from the project, received positive feedbacks from their users. These photos are found on the social medias, showing the publics are enjoying the time in the promenade. The original segregated waterfront has now been revitalized. It is accessible and enjoyable recreational space. It is a breathing space, a gift in the dense urban fabric for the public. Well, thank you. And we have a video. It's about 2.5 minutes to show the overall design and the works of the waterfront. Thank you.
Thomas 好似冇開到嗰個片嘅，係咪有聲啊？
係啊。Sorry.
I can't hear the.
Oh, sorry. Okay. We'll do it again. Sorry. Is it okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, with a bit more time, I found this video in the Hong Kong IUD website, and Mr. Dennis Ho, actually he was giving quite a good compliment to the Wan Chai waterfront, which I also would like to play. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dennis Ho. I'm the Director of Architecture and Urban Design at ARA. I'm at the Wan Chai harbourfront of the Victoria Harbour. There has been a lot of discussion and study by the Harbourfront Commission and different landscape architects about the changes of the harbourfront and how to make it more accessible and beautiful. This open space has only recently been added to this part of the waterfront next to the Wan Chai ferry terminal. The design is quite unique, consisting of a number of local references, soft and natural landscape materials, nice seating areas, and it really tries to encourage the local and visitors to engage more with the harbourfront. This is a very good reference point for open spaces in Hong Kong, which so far, frankly, lacks a unique and consistent approach. Pedestrian connection with the city requires a lot of work and a lot of attention. Even though this place is only a few hundred meters away from Wan Chai and Causeway Bay, the connection is not so obvious. But I really do hope that this is a good reference point and a very good example for other open spaces to learn from. And I encourage designers to create much more beautiful places within Hong Kong, allowing people to access it easily. This harbourfront has enormous potential to become a much more people-focused civic destination.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. 感谢温卓君先生给我们带来关于湾仔海滨花园的这个场所营造的一个项目了。然后，对，最后我们接下来有请来自于 SOM 公司的资深副总监、资深城市设计师孙乃飞先生，给我们讲一下关于佛山岭南天地的一个城市设计项目。然后本次佛山岭南天地也是本次大奖的这个就是大奖的获奖作品之一。感谢孙先生。
好的，可能请我同事那个 Jessie 来分享一下我们的画面。
好的。
然后可能要跟大家抱歉一下，就是我现在在机场里边，所以可能背景有点吵，可能大家在我讲的过程中，也许会听到3次这个登机的这个预告。Jessie 下一页。那佛山岭南天地项目呢，其实是位于佛山市的禅城区的一个综合性的一个城市更新的一个项目。它整个的一个用地面积呢是65公顷，总的一个建筑面积呢是150万平方米。下一页。Jessie 下一页。对，这张图里面大家可以看到，我们场地所在的位置啊，图上那个黑颜色线框呢就是佛山老城的位置。那同时，这个红颜色的这个色块呢，则是我们这个祖庙，包括佛山岭南天地整个一个大的片区所在的一个区位。下一页。那其实整个佛山的一个老城呢，大概有差不多900多年的一个历史。
有点延迟。
对。那现在大家看到这张图呢，是在2007年的时候，我们刚刚开始做这个项目的时候拍的张画面。所以可以看到，跟之前建成后的效果不一样。在那个时候呢，虽然可以看到有一些老城的一个历史的肌理啊，那此外呢，其实同时会看到场地中有很多这些个，比如7、8层啊，这种可能是在70、80年代建的一些新建筑。那这些新的建筑呢，已经慢慢开始侵蚀老城原有的一个肌理了。其实当时佛山的政府也是一直想推动来保护原有的这么一个历史肌理，但是一直没有个契机。那直到这个政府打算这个修建地铁。就是广佛地铁1号线，把佛山呢跟广州连在一起，那使得了有一个推动这个区域更新改造的一个动力，才有我们后来看到这个项目。下一页。可能 Jessie 还是有点延迟哈。
对。
那大家可以看到，对，这张图片是这个区有900多年历史的一个祖庙啊，就是当地的这样一个国家级的一个保护单位，那也有非常独特的这种岭南的建筑这种特色。下一页。那除了这些祖庙之外呢，其实这边还有一些包括省级啊、市级的一些文物保护单位，那还有一些历史建筑。此外呢，整个场地东边有个叫东华里的一个街区，那也是一个比较高品质的一个清代民居的一个之所在。虽然整条街只有100多米，但是它承载的这些历史的建筑是反映了当时记忆的一个重要组成部分。下一页。 那当然，除了这些个知名的这些文物保护单位啊，这种高品质的文物建筑之外呢，其实还有很多普通的民宅。下一页，那其实这些民宅呢，也是重要的这个城市基底的一部分。那比如当然还有一些传统的这种商业啊，包括当铺啊。大家右边的这张图片呢，看到就是当时当铺的样子，所以它是一种防御性的建筑。那其实在这个建筑的这样一个形态上，非常有这种历史的这种特色。下一页。所以除了关注这些文物之外呢，其实这些历史建筑也是整个街区里边我们非常希望能够保留下来这些历史性的要素。下一页。那除此之外呢，就是街巷空间。那有时候我们觉得老城或者历史街区的价值呢，那不只是说周边的一些文物建筑，那即便可能周围并没有一定有文物建筑了，但是它原有的这些街道的尺度呢，也都承载着这个历史的记忆，也是我们这个保护街区的一个重要组成部分。下一页。所以在整个一个规划中呢，其实我们也非常注重保护这些个传统特色的街巷。那当然有些位于场地边缘的街巷呢，可以作为一种具有传统特色，但是作为一种更多的更新性的建筑，可以结合它进行布置。红颜色的则是我们比较更加关注的、需要保护的这种历史的街巷。下一页。那在整个项目推进过程中呢，我们也是希望发展一个更大的概念。那这个概念呢，可能不只是关乎我们项目本身，也是想在整个这个佛山老城的范围内形成一个连绵不断的一个历史的尺度的一个低谷。就是图上大家看到一个绿色色块的区域。那当我们这个项目是它的一个起始的，也是希望这样一个历史的谷地呢，可以进行向北延伸，成为保护老城的一个重要的一种策略。下一页。
OK。
那其实大家知道，这个城市更新呢，其实都是需要它的一个发展的一个建设的成本的，就需要引入新的这种商业的物业或者居住的物业。那在这个方案中呢，我们是希望以这个大家图上看到的岭南天地1号地块，还有东华里，还有祖庙，作为我们这个区域特色的这么一个历史的谷地。那作为未来支付这个城市更新成本的这些商业和居住的开发呢，会对推至整个场地的北侧跟南侧。下一页。那这种策略呢，将共同形成这样一个历史的谷地和一个新建的建筑群的这么一个山脊的这样一种城市的形态。那其实这些新建的建筑呢，也会拥有比较好的眺望历史谷地的这么一种视野。下一页。那同时，对于这些新的建筑体量的这种布局呢，我们也是希望充分的跟城市的公共交通的走廊，就是广佛地铁1号线的走廊，以及这个城市的干道相结合。那同时呢，是希望尽可能的成组的布置这些高层建筑，尽量的减少高层建筑对于原有这个历史街区的视线影响。下一页。那其实在对这是当时很多效果图还是手绘的，所以这张图也可以看到是希望通过这样一个新建建筑的山脊跟一个历史的街区的谷地，共同塑造这样一个文化的一个识别性。下一页。其实在这之中呢，就特别关心对于祖庙本身的这样一个重要试点的一个保护。所以因为其实周边增加新的这些开发物业，其实是件不能完全避免的这么一种趋势但我们还是希望有选择的，在一些跟祖庙观景相关的一些重点的市廊里边，对相关市廊上的建筑高度进行控制，那使得原有这个祖庙比较优美的这个屋脊线呢，并没有受到这个周边新增高层建筑的影响。下一页。所以除了做一些剖面的研究之外呢，也会结合这些重要市廊，对朝西、朝东、朝北、朝南不同朝向的一些重要的这个区域做这种高度的视线分析和这个建筑高度的控制。下一页。那其实也在这样一种控制之下能够有效的控制这个在祖庙庭院内的这样一个对祖庙本身的一个观赏。下一页。那其实我们同时呢，结合这个控规的编制对这个祖庙包括这个几个我们的佛山岭南阶梯天地1号地块周围的这个不同地块的建筑高度，也做了一些更细分的一些高度的分级的这种引导。当然有些是刚性的要求。下一页。那我们很高兴在这个区域应该是一些主要的住宅跟这个商业板块建成之后呢，在这个祖庙内部去观赏它的时候呢，还是能够 形成一个比较干净的一个天象，并没有受到高层建筑的影响。下一页。那另外呢，就是说我们如何对于处理原有本身这个城市的基底，大家可以看到图上一些黄褐色的区是那些尺度还是比较宜人的，符合原有历史街区特征的这样一种建筑。图上看到一些浅灰色，甚至是一些主要是一些浅灰色吧。这些建筑其实这就代表着右图中那些高的这种7层8层跟这种历史风貌相违背的或者相这种矛盾的这种建筑。那我们大的目标就是会把这些有矛盾的大体量建筑从核心的这样一个历史的谷地把它移走。下一页。那在此基础上呢，当我们希望引入这种新的建筑的时候呢，我们也是希望这些新的这种建筑的体量，就是在这个历史街区中的体量呢，也是跟原有的这个历史街区的这样一种建筑尺度能够相契合的，无论是在高度或者体量上。就是右图中看到这种这种有点偏黄褐色的这些建筑，它们是这种新建的，但符合历史街区尺度的这种建筑。下一页。那其实在此基础上呢，我们就进一步对这是在当时07年做的工作了，就如何来设想，那通过对这些历史建筑的再利用，来为街区增加活力，同时保留原有的风貌。那接下来几页 Jesse 可以就很快的翻一下，等于是当时对不同的这种街道空间包括引入的新建筑的一些曲度和体量的思考。那当然 SOM 在整个这个过程中呢，扮演的是一个城市规划的这么一个工作。我们是它的。
We will also continue different sections. We have different partners from different design team. For example, team 1 work on the session 1 in this project, and team 2 may work on another parts of the project sign. So they always need to have very good coordination to make sure they have the same style. So some of those photos are done by our company. They are the concept pictures. We would like to combine the older buildings with the new buildings. So in the following photos, you can see the real effects. Some of you may ask us how different is the Xintiandi in Foshan from the one in Shanghai? Because in Shanghai, there's another Xintiandi project. And my answer is that in Foshan, there are many smaller and older houses and buildings. They are full of history. And we will try our best to protect them and preserve them. So in this new project, there are still something old, something genuine, something traditional for you to enjoy. Moreover, in our district, there are many important places for cultural heritage. I would like to show my gratitude to my partners in South China University of Technology. They are very professional at preserving and restoring some of those older buildings. Like this one, you can see that there are lots of townhouses near these temples. They can still preserve this temple very well. Moreover, there are other residential buildings, including the Jian's family house. So it's actually a mansion. It has a history over 100 years. It's a Western style of building, and it's very huge, over 3,400 square meters. It actually showcases the Italian style, as well as the Ningnan style in the Qing dynasty in China. And this family house is another example. It has 120 years, and we call it Longtang Poetry Group. It means that in the old days, the poets came here to discuss their poems. Another example is this tower. In fact, many people pay attention to our project and they shoot many videos on the social media. So I'm going to show you a video which I found on the social media, so you will have a better understanding of it. I'm afraid we haven't heard the sound or the music. Can we try again? Okay, let's continue. So in the video, you can see there is a very special house of getting married. We call it the marriage house. This house has a history of 200 years. So in the past 2 centuries, when local people got married, they came here to go through all those ceremonies. And now we will present the ceremonies in the house. And we believe that it's a very good example to showcase how we protect the local tradition. We have one more video to show. Okay, let's move on. We have another example called the wine house. It's called the 酒行 Wine Industry Association. So I think you can see more about this wine house in the video. So this is the wine house or the wine chamber. You can see many 御冰烧 or the Chinese liquor over here. In the old days, people who sold wine set their business in this house. And here is the courtyard. And as we move on, you can see Mr. Chen Taiji. Chen Taiji is the inventor of the wine or the alcohol. We can see more about him, how he make good use of the rice and to brew the liquor. Okay, I would like to buy 2 bottles of wine for my family. So in this project, we have attracted many attention of the business owners as well as audience on the social media. So if you try to look for some short videos online, you can do that. And we believe that the project could be a very good beginning for us to continue telling the story of the local culture. In particular, when we work on some older part of the city, we always get the challenge of how to put the new buildings with the older buildings in the same place. So that's not easy. We need to strike a very good balance with the local community. Like here, we still need to continue the memory of the older city and the residents by preserving these arcades or the 骑楼. So you can see how compact our project is. There are many narrow streets, including pedestrian streets. In fact, if you want to have very good project in China, you need to pay attention to the transportation system, especially at the corners, because we need to let the vehicles to pass through a lot of crossing and turn left or right at several corners. So it's not easy to work at those corners. Hereby, we need to have some red line curb radius. This is a very important experience for people to learn from this project. So here are more technical maps and drawings of how we set the limits of the car. Like here, you can see more photos at the corners. We'll make sure vehicles can pass along while the Asian towers and buildings can be reserved. Again, this project pays special attention to sustainability. That's why we have gained an award related to sustainability. And you can also see a lot of green areas in our project. We have planted many trees and flowers, and they are very good for forestation. And here are more photos of outdoors. We have very good team to do the outdoor design. The name of the company is called Beyond City, our partner. So our partner tried to emerge a park nearby with our project site. So here comes a summary of my presentation. In our project, we had done a lot of research. We have a lot of planning, but in the end of the day, it's the operation of the projects that make the project a difference. So we try our best to work with the operator to preserve the culture of cuisine, of pottery, of martial arts, of the local community. So you can see the diversity of culture in this project. We hope that by working in this way, we can develop the local culture as well as to revitalize the local memory. We also would like to boost the economy in this community so that we can continue to serve for a sustainable development of the city. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sun. Now, the 4 keynote speakers have finished their presentation. We would like to thank them very much for their contribution. We still have 10 to 15 minutes, so now the floor is open for questions. I would like to invite the 4 keynote speakers online. So please get ready to answer any questions raised by our participants online. We are very interested at your projects. So for each project, we may raise 1 to 2 questions to you. I know, Mr. Sun, you're at the airport. I would like to begin from you. There are several questions for your projects. Can I? Okay, please go ahead. So in the Lingnan Tiandi master plan, we understand it is located at an older part of the city. And you also have the developers and the operators involved. So how can you strike a balance among so many shareholders? For example, what kind of buildings should be protected in the project side? And how can you deal with the developers? For example, when you do your design, you need to do a lot of research. And do you have some kind of arguments about which buildings should be protected while which other buildings should not be protected? Well, thank you for your question. You're right that there is a historical street being identified in our block. There are cultural heritages. There are several blocks. For example, Lot 1 and also Donghua Li, which is at the eastern part of the project, are the key areas for us to preserve. So everything went very smoothly. We don't have many arguments. Okay, thank you. The next question for Mr. Sun is that you have got LEED Gold certification. That is a very huge achievement. That is the award for sustainability. Can you tell us more about your award? What other achievements have been recognized by LEED? Yes, I have done some research after I got your question. It's about sustainability. It's about power consumption, water management, and the renovation of the local community, and how the community can have economic sustainability. So those are the 4 factors to gain the award from LEED. So as an older part of the city, we also need to pay attention to the pedestrian, the passengers, and the vehicle drivers. We also need to use the solar energy to provide electricity. And there are also some hotels nearby. We make sure the hotel can use the solar power to provide hot water, so it can cut the power consumption. Moreover, there are some smaller projects of older buildings, and we have to install some air conditioner, and we use the air conditioner with the minimum power consumption. So that is another good practice for us to cut the power consumption. So considering all those achievements, we can make sure the project is sustainable. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sun. So the next question is for Madam Zheng Yu, the first speaker. The question is about Beijing Road. And before my presentation, I also like to tell our audience that you can raise your questions by typing in Q&A session. So I will go with my questions first, and if we have time, we invite the audience to raise questions. Okay, back to Beijing Road. We understand that Beijing Road has a history of thousands of years old. There are local residents, there are business owners, and other shareholders. So when you engage all those people, how can you strike a balance? Because you need to take your branding, the culture, the landscape, the construction, everything into consideration. So how can you strike a balance? Thank you. We have our operation model, and we gain the trust from all the business owner. So at the very beginning, our project has been identified into one of the master projects in Beijing Road community. So our company can be the master designer of the entire project. So we can take things in charge. We also have 1+3 planning. We also take transportation, industry, culture into our consideration. So that's what we mean by 1+3. And we also have got the ownership of the entire master design. We can work with many professionals, and we can take things in our full control. So it's easier for us to do the management. We can stick to our idea. We can stick to many details, including which bricks to use, which window to use, which glass to use. So you can see that in the process of the operation, we still need to deal with other ordinary people, including the shop owners, the local residents, and the workers who work nearby. So they join us all the time, not just for one time. So when we did the planning, we talked to them, we tried to build consensus with them, we listened to their ideas. So they joined us at the very beginning. And in the process of the construction, we kept talking to all these people too. We will see what kind of requirements they have. For example, what you want to see and what you do not want to see in this project. And then when we work into each of the building, like I said, there are thousands of stores in the Beijing Road. We talk to each of those buildings business owner. one-to-one. And we collected all their feedback. We tried our best to please them. And we can always find something common. So it's easier for us to continue with our project. Another issue is that we not only work on one single project of Beijing Road. It's not only for the pedestrian streets. We are looking ahead for further developments of Beijing Road community. We also want to have some sustainability in the building. For example, all those store owners can try on their own to preserve their own culture. They can also try their best to make some kind of new initiative. For example, how to use their lights, how to make their sign, how to make good use of their windows, how to have interior design. So we teach them how to do that on their own, and they can keep doing that after our project is done. So thank you very much. The moderator has muted himself. Please remind him to turn on his microphone. Thank you. Mr. Nevin Yu, you just muted yourself. Excuse me, the moderator just muted himself. We could not hear him. Nevin, Mr. Yu, Mr. Moderator. Okay, thank you. We are back. So thank you very much, Madam Chen. We are running out of time. So we only raise one question to the following question. So the next question is for Mr. Wen. I will put it in.
灣仔嘅呢個 project 咧，因為佢嘅位置喺會展同埋灣仔碼頭嘅呢個重要區位啦，喺設計上有冇咩比較特別嘅考慮咧？
Should I answer in English or how do you want me to do it? You asked me Cantonese.
Actually, English is okay. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Right. I think the project is located in, as you know, the last piece of reclaimed land facing Victoria Harbour. And I think the main thing is how to enhance the connectivity between Hong Kong Convention Centre and the Wan Chai ferry pier. And by introducing a walking path that integrate with nature. So is focusing on the surrounding landscape and the Victoria Harbour is our key. By inserting multiple activity notes, the experience is also enhanced with walking in between the convention centre and the ferry pier, pocket spaces, meandering through landscape, and the shelters sitting under the pavilions are strategically located along the waterfront, where passive activities takes place. On the other hand, the continuous pavement area allow us, the public, to carry out activities like jogging, other activities like performance and doing yoga, doing gym, could also be carried out in the multi-purpose space. Abutting the water edge, the seatings are also added for the visitors to enjoy the unobstructed harbour view. So it's a kind of a layering of spaces from passive to active, from sheltering under the trees, because mainly they could shelter from the summer sun. And also when you want to be very active, you can go on the outer side, so they have the best view of the harbour. So it's multi-activities for all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Wen. Last but not the least, I would like to raise the question to Madam Liu Jie. We also have a participant who raised question online. I think the question is raised by Mr. Hong Chong. he would like to know more about the details of your project. For example, how can you solve the problem of budget, and who is in charge of the entire project, and if the residents or the business owner disagree with some of the ideas, how can you solve the problems? Thank you. All right, let me try to answer the question. First of all, in my presentation, as well as in the video and the pictures, you can see that Xinhepu project is very different from Beijing Road and the Xintiandi in Foshan, because in our project site, there are lots of local people living nearby. There are also lots of business, small business. So it's different from others. We have a lot of local residents. That's why we need to take their views into our consideration. So in our operation and management of the project, we always try to get them engaged. We also get the governments engaged, because, like you know, we are working on how to protect and preserve the local culture, and we can get some support and professional ideas from the local governments. They will tell us some basic line of the traffic and the administration. They also would like to tell us which part of the project site can be revitalized. So we get all this guidance from the local governments. We have some rigid requirements from the government. We also get some flexible guideline from other shareholders, like what functions do we need to display in this building and what other functions we need to display. So this is some of the things we have been doing. Moreover, there are lots of public space. There are many public areas, public buildings, and public environments. And we also need to deal with the local governments to get their financial support. Moreover, we also need to get the corporate industry involved. For example, the business owners will rent their stores to others, and they can also get some professional advice from us. So when they get their rent, they can also contribute to their own buildings reservation. And then we can also provide more service of consultants. We can go help the small business owners to report to the government for approval, and we also provide them with more consultancy services. So we also get some money from the business owners themselves. So we not only get financial support from the government, but also from the local small business owners. They're very unique in our project. You also asked me another question about some disagreements in the local residents. I would like you to know that the Guangdong government is very open to.
为什么我们会在那个刚刚的这个 PPT 里面介绍了，就是说在这个新河浦项目里面，我们有公众参与的这个环节，包括我们那种调研，以及我们这个类似于这样的一些公众的一些这种共同缔造啊等一系列这样的一些活动，那么让这个更多的这种原住民以及这种商家，还有我们这种政府以及新闻，还有各方的这种人士共同参与进来，让大家能够更加的了解这个项目。那么有时候因为很多这种反对声音是因为信息的不对称，那么如果大家对这个项目更多的去了解了，那么更多的可以把这个项目的利弊以及这个项目的这种具体的要求可以进行这样的一些阐述的话，其实大家还是非常愿意去将新河浦这个片区去打造出来。这个也就是我们为什么会在理念中提到的这种共享共建的这样的理念，让大家共同来为我们这个新河浦的这种发展来出一份力。主要是这些，谢谢。
好的，感谢刘女士啊，再次感谢4位主题讲者，今天给我们带来关于这个就是文化丰富城市肌理的保护和提升的这么一个主题演讲。那么本次的这个香港城市设计学会大湾区城市设计大奖网上论坛就到此完满结束了。感谢各位，感谢各位观众，感谢各位嘉宾，谢谢。
好，谢谢，拜拜。
好的，再见。